All right. Good morning, everybody. Let me know if you can hear me. So, so I had to go on a little earlier today because I'm going to my son's basketball game. It starts kind of early, so we had to do this early. But we've got the Okuma Diamond Elite rod here that we're going to be giving away at the end. So we've got the 7.6 medium light downrigger rod. Very nice rod. So yeah, morning Hudson, the Real Gons, Jim, Scott, Beecher. It is definitely cold out there. Who got out ice fishing this week? I know I was selling bait. I know guys are getting out there. There's some ice in the harbors. There's some ice in the inland lakes. Morning, Justin, Stroh, Gold, Bart. So, yeah, good morning, everybody. Anthony, Randy. All right. Well, we'll get into it. Last week, somebody asked me how I rig my dock runner rods for the automatic fisherman. And it's pretty simple. I took one from home here. One thing I think I forgot to mention was the bobber stop, and you do it a little differently than you would a normal bobber stop when you're rigging up a slip bobber. So here we have, this is just like, I don't know, 6 or 8 pound fluoro on here. And I've got the ice stopper reservoir or bobber. And what you do is you just run the line through that. It splits in half like this. And you fill it with some of this de-icer fluid. That way you can fish without the line freezing to the ice if it's extra cold. If it's not super cold, you don't really need it. Like if you're just fishing in the upper 20s and 30s, the water itself will stay warm enough, and I won't use the fluid then. I'll actually just put water in here rather than taking it off altogether, and that works fine. But when you start getting colder, low 20s and teens or days like today, then that fluid helps out quite a bit. And then what we do is we take a rubber, see if we can get it, there we go, a rubber bobber stop like this right here, and put it below the bobber. And what that does is when you just have, when you're not actually fishing, when the bait's not in the water, that's what this, when this comes into play. So if you just have the rod sitting in the automatic fisherman and you're putting new bait on or whatever, the ice or the liquid reservoir here will slide down to that bobber stop, and then it kind of plugs it up so that this expensive fluid right here does not leak out while it's just hanging in the air. That's all it's for, but it's definitely useful, and you should definitely use it. And then I'll just have I forgot to put the weight back on here when I was re-rigging. I'll just have a small split shot. If I'm fishing a heavier current situation, like in the river, I might put on like a bullet weight and a swivel to a leader, just something a little more weight for the current. But otherwise, just in the harbors, I like very little weight, small split shot, and then a hook at the bottom of it. Obviously, this one's not really focusing in, but in this case, it's like a size 2 octopus hook because I was using a shiner. If I was going smaller or with the spawn sack, then I'd use a smaller hook, like a size 8 or even a 10 octopus hook. But that's basically the rig right there. There's not much to it. There's also another bobber I forgot to bring that you can put in between the guides on the rod, and you pull it down so that the fish can take some line before it sets the hook. Sometimes that's needed to get a good hook set. Sometimes you're better off just letting it set the hook immediately on the bite, and you just have to figure that out on your own when you're out there, what kind of day it is or what you're fishing for or whatever. So, all right. Morning, everybody. More people chiming in here. All right. So, Hing MD has an unseasonable question. Feel free to ask. I haven't seen it yet. Morning, Ace. Headed back out on fishing for pike as we speak. Awesome. Good luck out there. Let's see. Sean says just under 4 inches on Silver Lake as of last night. A little thinner in the deep spots. Yeah, that's about right. SBG says hit the like. Yes, please hit the like. It goes a long way with getting the channel out there and everything. So I definitely appreciate all the likes. Keep them coming. Morning, Mo. Flycat kayak. When I refer to out and down, what does that mean? I guess I need a little more context to that, but like a dip sea would go out to the side and down. Um, that's what I'm guessing you're talking about. So like a planer board just goes out and downriggers just go down, but a dip sea is directional, so it'll go out on an angle depending on how you set it with the dial on the bottom. So I'm assuming that's what you were referring to, or just in general, if I was hearing out and down, that's what I'm assuming, because they're going to go out to the sides and down in the water. All right. Morning, Brian, Josh, Chevy guy. Let's see if we can catch up here. Will I be getting more of the HT Ice Blue rods? It depends on which length you're looking for. I tried to get some more of the longer ones, and they were not available. I'd ordered them, but they didn't send them to me for some reason. So usually I have them anywhere from 18 inches to 48 inches, and the 36 and the 48s did not come with my order for some reason. I'm hoping to get some because I do sell a lot of those. I think you ordered one from me online. I guess keep an eye out right now. If my distributors are out of a rod for ice fishing, there's a pretty good chance they're not getting them the rest of the year, because typically ice fishing is like a one-time order with distributors, and they don't reorder. Not a guarantee it's going to work that way. I'll keep an eye out for it. Hopefully I can get some more, because like I said, I do sell a lot of those rods. Those are great rods for the money. All right. Anthony says, do I have a preference on augers? You know what? I do like electric. I have the original Ion, and it's been flawless for me. I have yet to replace. I've had it for I don't know how many years. Whatever year the Ion came out is when I got it. So it's got to be close to 8 years old, maybe. Maybe more. I don't even remember. But anyways, I've never had to replace the battery, and I've never had to replace the blades on it. I've never even sharpened the blades on it. It still cuts great. I highly recommend it. I know that there's other ones out there too that are really good. There's the drill adapter ones that are great, and people swear by them. The last year, my dad got a Strike Master lithium auger. That's been a great auger as well. Most of them are pretty good these days. So those would be, from my own experience, my recommendations there. There's people that ice fish a lot more than me that might have different opinions. But for me, it's been great. So I can't say don't get one. That Ion's been perfect for me. And I know that Strike Master lithium is really good as well. All right. Good morning, JMM and Mike Flynn and Fish Hunter, Bob. All right. See if we can catch up. I heard that they're still launching out of Milwaukee Harbor. Is that true? You know what? I haven't talked to anybody who has, but usually the launch in the river, I forgot what street that is, but over by the Hone there, that stays open quite a bit. I would imagine that McKinley probably froze up a little bit with this cold weather, but that river launch is usually open unless it gets really, really cold for a little bit longer. But I haven't talked to anybody this week that did launch their boat there, but I would check on that river launch. All right. Out and down is a side downrigger term on the Michigan side. Yeah. We don't use that so much here. We'd call that like our boom rigger here. All right. When you're fishing the river in winter, what is your favorite bait? Minnows, shrimp, or something else? My favorite bait is whatever I'm catching them on at the time. And I'll have, I'm assuming you're talking about ice fishing in the river, Josh. I usually go out with a little bit of everything. It's going to be some spawn sacks. I'm going to have some minnows. I'm going to have some fatheads. I'm going to have some medium roaches, some small roaches. I'll even have a few rosy reds. And then I always have shrimp. I use it all, and I'll try to get a little of everything out there and just see what they want. I've had days where shrimp's the best. I've had days where minnow's the best. So it's always good to have a little variety. That being said, if you don't have spawn sacks or you can't get any good spawn sacks, don't be afraid to just go out there at shrimp and minnows and a tube jig. You'll catch them on that. I'll catch them jigging the tube jig, and I'll even have tube jigs under my autos sometimes, and that works great. So you never really know. But yeah, my favorite's whatever I'm catching them on, whatever the last fish bit. All right. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, you wanted a 36 inch. Hopefully I can get them. I have other people that want the 36 inch as well, and I'm keeping an eye out for them. I'm trying to get some. I checked with 2 different distributors, and they were both out of them. All right. Morning from Michigan City. Morning, Rob. Is there any alternative to the Jiffy Ice Scout? I'm sorry, I can't speak. I think that's it. If I'm not mistaken, is that sled where you can mount everything, or it holds your buckets? If that's the case, one of my customers just picked something really similar up from Shields. I think it was made by Otter. I don't remember what it was called. Next time he's in here, I'll ask him. He showed me pictures of it. It was pretty cool. It had places for rod holders. You could have his live scope mounted on it, 5-gallon buckets in there, pulled really nice. It's fairly small. Pretty good little sled for ice fishing, especially if you're doing everything on foot. So next time he's in here, he stops in once or twice a week. So I'll ask him the name of it. So, but it is pretty good. I think it would be a good alternative, as long as that is what you're referring to. All right. Good morning, Missy. Any reports on Lake Geneva? I know of some walleyes that were being caught from shore. It is still pretty much open, and I don't know how much ice is really formed out there yet. But I know walleyes are being caught from shore still, like on jerk baits and swim baits and stuff like that. What line do you like on Automatic Fisherman and the Harbor Ice? I'm not super picky with the brand on it. Sometimes I just have like 6-pound fluoro on some of them, where it's just a whole reel of 6-pound fluoro. I have some that are 8-pound mono, and then I'll switch out the leader on there with fluoro, whether it's 6 or 8. I've used Invisix. It's fine. I like that Sunline FC Sniper now. I'm not super picky on the brand. Most of everyone that comes in the shop here knows that I'm not really picky with that stuff. But 6 or 8 pound, and if you want to be a little go on the heavy side, go with 8 or even 10, and then just have a leader if you want something lighter on there, depending on the situation. But I definitely like going with light line in the harbors for the browns and steelhead. Once they've been fished for a bit and the water gets if you have really clear conditions, they definitely get picky with that, and having some light line makes a difference for sure. All right. What size auger, 8 or 10 inch? I use an 8. If you're fishing the harbors a lot, then a 10 is a little bit nicer for getting those trout through. But I've always been fine with an 8. And I like the 8 because I don't have to worry as much about my kids stepping in a 10-inch hole and, their whole leg going in. So that's why I like an 8. But whatever you like. I know a lot of the guides use 10s. So I used to even use a 6 when I had a hand auger. And we got those fish into 6. But there were some pretty big browns that were a struggle to get through there. So definitely 8 or 10, either way. I personally use the 8, though. All right. Hello from Lake Koshkanon. So assuming you're on the ice fishing for walleyes right now, how's that going? All right. McKinley was icing up as of yesterday. Yeah, I kind of figured the boat launch would start icing up. What do you recommend when using a jigging when jigging for trout? Do you mean like rod and reel wise, or do you mean the jigs themselves? You can use these dock runners for anything. I use them on the autos. You can go with some heavier rods if you want. I have I think a Fenwick over here. One of these. It's a little shorter than I'd like, but if you're in a shack, it's all right. That's the medium light. This Fenwick HMG 27 medium is not bad for jigging, but in all honesty, the dock runner works fine. And most of the time, I jig tube jigs, but I'll also catch them on little like power minnows or gulp minnows, like 1.5 2 inches on little darter heads. Catch them on Castmasters, the clam leech spoons. I've caught a lot of fish on blade baits, small jigging wraps, excuse me. There's a huge variety of baits you can catch them on. I know guys recently were catching some fish on the little mini ripping wraps, the smallest ones. So, yeah, there's a whole variety of baits you can catch jigging to catch these fish jigging. All right. Am I doing the school with Captain Dan? Yes, it's filling up fast. It's going to be at the end of January. Thanks for bringing that up. The last weekend in January, I think it's the 24th and 25th, we have Captain Dan here. There's going to be some other charters speaking as well. I think it's 3 other charters speaking, including Captain Jim Mueller from Stormtrooper, who's kicked everybody's butt in the brawl this past year. And then a couple North Point charters here, Captain Dylan and Captain... I'm drawing a blank, but can't think at the moment. But it's going to be a great time. Sign up at CaptainDanKeating.com. I think he said that there's people signed up from 4 different states right now, coming from all over the place for this. So we have somewhat limited. I think usually we stop sign-ups at about 75 people. You can do 1 day or 2 days, or just pick whatever you want. It's a good time. You can talk to Captain Dan. You can ask him questions and the others. So it's very thorough if you want to learn about fishing for salmon on Lake Michigan, primarily the trolling part of it. He covers just everything from lures and targeting individual species, seasonal progression and how we fish, currents out in the lake, a little of it all. So you can really learn a lot at that. So like I said, if you guys are interested in coming to that, you sign up for it at CaptainDanKeating.com. All right. Morning, Ed. Michelle. All right. What do we got here? Another fishing report. St. Joe came up a little with the snowmelt. Got 4 steelhead. Back bouncing spawn. Should improve when the water temp stabilizes. Yeah. You know, next week, we're in a bit of a cold snap right now, but this coming week is pretty mild. And we should get some runoff. That should get some fish. I don't know if it'll be enough runoff to open up the rivers in our area. But my favorite time to hit the rivers is usually winter, December and January. If you get like a nice thaw, rivers open up, especially in January. They really load up with browns and steelhead. Definitely my favorite time. There's usually not quite as many fishermen around. But either way, if we get some thaw, it's going to bring some fish in. You might not be able to open water fish for them, but it's going to bring in a few more fish into the harbors. Because like up in Racine, even in front of Kenosha and the Pike, there were a lot of steelhead, tons of steelhead that just were not really coming into the harbor. That'll bring them in. All right. All right. Good morning, Joel. All right. Como is 4 to 5 inches. Awesome. Walleye are really turning on Lake Geneva troll form. Yeah. Boats. This is usually prime time trolling for walleyes on Lake Geneva when you want to get the big ones. The colder, the better. Definitely the time. I've done it plenty of times. Well, I shouldn't say plenty. I've done it a bunch and froze my butt off out there, but caught some nice fish. That's for sure. All right. How is the Laker bite lately? I know they're getting them down in Chicago and some perch as well. Up here, not quite as many. Not really anybody fishing for them. They don't come inside of our harbors, and now the boat fishing's kind of done, with the exception of like the Oak Creek Power Plant in Milwaukee. And up there, you'll get some Lakers as well. but I haven't talked to anybody fishing for them this week. Where am I located? I'm in Winthrop Harbor, Illinois. The address is 1038 Sheridan Road. Feel free to stop in sometime. All right. Do I have any spawn sacks right now? Yes, I do. All right. Okuma makes good stuff. Yes, it does, Andy. Can we catch lake trout from Waukegan Harbor, or where should we go? There's occasions, I'm assuming you're talking about like shore fishing. There's occasions when lake trout get caught from shore at Waukegan, but it's not as consistent as, say, down in Chicago, like Navy Pier. They catch a lot more lake trout from shore. That's where I would go. If I specifically wanted to catch lake trout, I would be going down to the city of Chicago. They catch a lot more down there, and then you'll get in some perch as well. So, all right, well, we'll get into the fishing report. They have been catching a good amount of browns and steelhead in the harbors. The ice thickness does vary, which is, typical of harbors. I know fish caught in Kenosha, Racine, I'm hearing like 3 to 4 inches. I'm sure it got a little thicker overnight. And, of course, as you get closer to open water or aerators, that ice is going to be thinner. So you definitely have to be careful, especially like Kenosha in a small boat harbor over there by the boat launch. I didn't look at it today, but historically there's a lot of aerators going on in there. A few in Racine as well. So they are catching them on. I mostly spawn sacks, what I'm hearing, but at the same time, that's usually what most people are using as spawn sacks. I know some fish were caught jigging tube jigs as well, and there were some kings caught. I had some guys showing me a video of them fighting a king on ice that was so thin that you couldn't even see the ice in the video. So be careful out there. But it was pretty cool. It wasn't as old and nasty looking of a king as you'd think. It definitely wasn't silver though. But that was pretty cool. But yeah, there's fish to be caught. I know inland fishing, I haven't heard any great reports, like great catches yet. But I'm hearing anywhere from 4 to 6 inches on the inland lakes. I'm sure some of the really small ones, there might be a little thicker. And then, of course, the bigger ones, like Lake Geneva, they're still taking boats out there. But yeah, that's the fishing report. North Point here is a little bit of a mess right now. It's a long story, and unfortunately, I don't have time to get into it because I got to run to basketball. But they are not opening the gates for ice fishing. Suntech, the company in charge of the marina, is not going to open those gates. They basically will not be in charge of the marina anymore, and the state will be taking it back over. I'm not saying you can't go ice fish down there, but they're not opening the gates. So that's all I know at the moment. Hopefully we'll be finding out some more information this coming week. There's a meeting on Monday that I'll be attending with some state representatives and the mayor and other business owners that rely on North Point here. So hopefully we can get some better news there because, of course, there's more fish to be caught in there. So, all right, we'll get into the giveaway here. The keyword again is going to be Okuma. So start saying the word Okuma to see who wins this Diamond Elite rod. Very nice rod. Oh, yeah. The Jiffy I got was a small diameter drill. You know what? I remember that. I don't know who's making one of those. I don't know why I didn't even think about that when you mentioned it before, but I haven't seen one in a long time. I don't know anybody making those. So, yeah, sorry. I can't be more helpful for you. But, yeah, make sure you spell Okuma right. Otherwise, it won't work. And in the meantime, if you guys have any other fishing questions, feel free to ask. Now is the time before I zip out of here. So, and of course, we have bait. We have the spawn sacks. I've got fatheads. I have shiners. I have rosy reds, waxies, and spikes. Smelt as well. So if you guys need any bait, feel free to stop in. Jack will be here for me the rest of the weekend after I take off. And you can feel free to heckle him if you stop in. He's not here yet, so I can say these things, give him a hard time. But he's very, very knowledgeable fisherman. He first mates on one of the charters out here out of North Point. He's a really good fisherman, and he's done it all, not only trolling out on the lake for salmon, but ice fishing and harbor fishing, the whole 9 yards. So, all right. How many entries do we have so far? We're up to 90 entries already. That's picking up pretty quick. I figured because I had to start a little earlier this week that maybe less people would be watching and entering, because I couldn't really announce it on YouTube yesterday. I was trying to figure out how to do that, but yeah, awesome. We'll just give it another minute or two for everyone to enter. And if you guys need any of these ice stopper, I have them online. The fluid, the bobber stops, the reservoir is here. They've been flying out of here. Like, I get shipments of 100 at a time. They just make it a few days. Part of it is because they made the hook setting devices legal in Minnesota, so everybody in Minnesota needs to order these things. And so as soon as I update my inventory online, people are buying them. It's pretty cool. All right. Oh, yeah. Thanks. I sent out a Christmas email. So if you guys want to get on the email list, sometimes I do different deals on there. You can go sign up for it online. I was playing around with a rewards program too, so you can accumulate points based on how much you're spending, and then you get a discount on future orders. That'll come out soon. But yeah, the email that reminds me to tell you know, if you guys need gift cards, go on the website, lakemichiganangler.com, just type in the word gift card, and you can get gift cards emailed to you or to whoever you're buying them for. You can just have it emailed straight to them. But yeah, if you don't know what to get someone for Christmas, a gift card's the way to go. I get a lot of spouses in here that say, hey, my husband likes fishing for salmon. What should I get him that he doesn't have? And I say, well, what does he have already? And they don't know, and I don't know what they have already. So sometimes a gift card's the best bet, because I want to get them something they don't have. I don't want to keep picking out the same things for them. So if you don't really know, then a gift card is the best thing to do. All right. Thought I saw a question here. Yep, everybody just gets one entry. You can say Okuma 1,000 times, but you're only in once. All right. Well, let's pick a winner here. Get over to the other screen. We have 98 entries. So Mo's entry only counted for once because it only went from 90 to 98. All right. Choose a winner, and it's Miguel. Congratulations, Miguel. Make sure you comment so I know you're still here. And I'm going to be getting out of here in a little bit, but why don't you just give me a call or email me, Rob at Lake Michigan Angler. Let me know how you want to get this, and we'll take care of it from there. But congratulations. Thanks, everybody, for watching and getting on here a little early so that I could go to basketball. All right. He left Choose Me. All right. Miguel, you there? All right. We're waiting for you, Miguel. You still watching, Miguel? Awesome. All right. Well, yeah, give me a call. Here he is. Give me a call the next couple minutes. Otherwise, Monday I'll be here. Call me then. We can arrange for this. And good luck, everybody. Stay safe on the ice. And have a great week. We'll see you again next Saturday. And we'll be back to the new convector reel, another 30D. So we'll see you then. All right, one more question here. All right. Cool. Have a good weekend, guys.